I'm Rob Steele. I'm a photographer, artist, and bodybuilder. A blanket statement of like what I'd be is artist. Like everything I do comes from a place of like wanting to create, even bodybuilding. I have images in my mind that I want to create, and because I can't draw them, I have to make them in 3D space, and then the camera's just the best tool to capture it. The aesthetic of a camera body, its compact nature and its usefulness all together for some reason just caught my attention one day. And there's a certain quality to my favorite photos that like made them special, and I was trying to figure out like what that quality was, which inspired me to try and create it myself. For a while I started with digital, and because digital you could shoot unlimited amount of images, I just kind of shot willy-nilly. You can tell what a beginner photo was, and I had my beginner phase and a lot of beginner photos. And things didn't really change until I picked up a film camera, because every shot started costing money. So then I became more intentional with my compositions and what I was trying to accomplish, and that was the game changer for me. But yeah, I'm self-taught. It was a mix of trial and error, and I mean, with the internet, you can teach yourself anything. So I learned the basics, and then pretty much now I kind of do my own thing and kind of break the rules a little bit to fit my style. If you ask me, I'd be like, I'm a film guy, like at heart. I like tactile things. I like the physical nature of it. I like to feel the camera kind of work. It's like the difference between driving an automatic car and a manual car. Like the combination of using a full manual camera and having to focus on your settings at the same time as observing your surroundings. There's no room in your head to think about like all the things that are constantly going. You're just pure in the moment. Being observant. It's like a form of meditation. But a lot of my inspiration will just come from my thoughts. Like I'll get an aesthetic image in my mind and I just have to make it. Yeah, and that's just something I was born with. Most of the time I don't force it. Like if I think creativity is like it's like ethereal. It kind of just like comes to you, like from an outside source, like, and you can't control it. So like when it's not there, I don't force it. But most of like my version of telling a story is like finding someone's style, aesthetic, and like everyone has an energy they bring when they walk into a room. Trying to find what that is and then visually show it with either like their entirety and the location, and then also like little macro tiny details that like they decided to, how they decided to dress and things like that. And I think if you put them all together, you stream them all together, it's almost like you get to explore the person or the place, and hopefully like the vibe will come across. The goal is to just make something, whether I'm famous or popular or nobody knows me. Like I'm already doing the goal of photography itself. A lot of my life has followed this pattern of I get a career, I try and make it work, it feels like I'm swimming upstream. I fail, I have to move back in with my parents, and then I'll build up my confidence, and I do that again over and over, as you know, since out of high school, because just something about doing the same meaningless thing for 40 hours every week, like 2/3 of your life, just kind of drains me. And like once the reality sets in, is like this doesn't stop ever until you're old, unless if you're lucky, you know. So it just felt like I wasn't living. I was like living to work and not living, and I saw no end in sight. And that's when I realized like time was my number one most important like internal value. And it still took me a while to like figure out like, or take the jump into like going all in. Nothing I wouldn't try. It's just like, what else can I trade for my time, for money other than my time? And that's eventually how I ran into porn, and it just kind of took off. So I started a Twitter, just teasing people and just kind of half bodybuilding posts like I used to do on my old Instagram, and half teasing, and I just kind of blew up. And that's when I knew it was like, oh, this is it, because nothing in my entire life has ever taken off that easy. And that's when I started putting more of my attention towards like porn and building a brand of Rob Steele. I didn't want it as a side gig. I'm like, this is my business, and I'm proud of it, even though it is something taboo. I started making photos of myself when I started making porn, and I was like, I need some high quality content. I'm more critical of doing photos of myself for sure, because it's yourself. I mean, everyone's critical of themselves. Right? You put a spotlight on like sexuality and things like that. So Rob Steele's and being dominant. Rob Steele's an amplification of that. So when I'm in front of the lens, I'm Rob Steele. And when I'm behind it, I'm a photographer. I remember my first memory of muscle. I was like 6. It was like a fuzzy early memory at my babysitter's house, and she had probably teenage sons, but they looked like adults to me. And I remember he flexed his bicep, and I remember it looking like this, like he had like a ball. And so like it was the want to have like a body like that has always been there. And that's what jump started me. And then that mixed with like feeling beneath and like work like lower in a lower place than everyone else, and a lot of my energy was coming from like I have something to prove and build up. And then in high school I found the weight room, didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but I was trying really hard. I was trying to have like more than anyone else, and it was the first thing I was good at, and it was like in my life, so I fucking went all in, and because of that, it became my identity for a while. This was like the perfect storm. I became obsessed, consumed. For years, I would quit jobs if they affected my ability to eat meals and stuff like that. I've ruined, I've ended a lot of careers, and in a lot of important relationships, I've ended because I don't fit. Like, a lot of people want balance in normal life and stuff like that, and some of the things I want, you can't have it if you have balance. Like, I'm on all the time, like on point, so I think the biggest thing is just like you don't fit with a lot of the general public. Through this entire time, I am operating from a place of like bitterness. I got a chip on my shoulder. I got something to prove. Like I'm gonna be a pro, And then I started winning local shows, and people started telling me like you can go pro. And as soon as people started telling me you could go pro, it lost all its fun, because it's like, oh, they see it. Like they see the thing that I've known this whole time. Go to the gym, bring the intensity, which is like sending a message of like, hey body, you need to change, and then allowing your body to make the change rather than like breaking it down and sending another message. And most important is form, like how are you moving the weight, time under tension. You're trying to lift the heaviest amount of weight possible with the most control as possible. Because if you like can live under this like the bar when you're squatting and just pause down there for like 3 seconds and take 3 seconds to go down, you're gonna look like you live under the bar. Because I was never supposed to be big. Like the reason my physique looks so good, and it looks so big is because my skeletal structure is small, and I've fit a lot of muscle on there that's not supposed to be there. So it has like this exaggerated X shape to it. Consistency. You just need to show up every day, no matter what. Even if you like. There's no straight path. There's gonna be ups and downs, and even months and weeks where it feels like you're going nowhere. You just gotta keep getting back up over and over. You just be relentless. That's the only trick. You just keep pounding away, and eventually the universe will hand it over to you.